So we're going to talk about metabolism. And so the first thing that we're going to talk about is the classes of nutrients and their utilization. Um, and the first one we're going to talk about is macronutrients, and these give energy and things like carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. Carbohydrates. So these are the primary source of energy. Um, they're used to, well, they break down into glucose, and they're used immediately, or they're stored as glycogen. Proteins provide amino acids for tissue growth and repair, enzymes, hormones, and antibodies. Lipids are a concentrated energy source. They're used for energy storage, cell membrane structure, insulation and protection. And hormone synthesis. And the other one is micronutrients, and these are needed in smaller amounts. Um, so vitamins, minerals, water. So vitamins, regulate the metabolic met- metabolic reactions. Minerals are the calcium in bones, and the function of those is iron and hemoglobin. Water is the medium for biochemical reactions. Their function is transporting, temperature regulation, and waste removal. And then next, we're going to talk about the metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and lipids. So, carbohydrate metabolism. So, the steps for carbohydrate metabolism, the first one is digestion, and that's for polysaccharides, and then they turn into monosaccharides, which is glucose. The second step is absorption, where the glucose is absorbed into the bloodstream. Like glycolysis, glycol. I'm not sure how to say that. Sorry. Um, that's when glucose and it turns into pyruvate, and then that's produces a small amount of energy, ATP. Pyruvate oxidation, that goes turns into acetyl CoA. Then citric acid cycle, which is the Krebs cycle. Acetyl CoA oxidizes, then carbon dioxide and plus energy carriers, um, and then the electron transport chain. This is where it produces bigger amounts of ATP. Then we have protein metabolism. Mm, So we have protein metabolism. The steps are digestion, where proteins turn into amino acids. Amino acid that goes into the amino acid pool, used for synthesis or energy. Uh, Deamination is the removal of amino groups. Ammonia, the urea cycle, ammonia to urea, um, which is excreted by the kidneys. And then carbon skeleton use, which is converted to glucose, ketone bodies, and energy. And then we have lipid metabolism, and those steps is digestion. The triglycerides go to fatty acids to glycerol. Then absorption, that forms chylomicrons, lymph, and then blood. Uh, Beta oxidation, fatty acids, and then acetyl CoA. Then the Krebs cycle, energy production, um, lipogenesis, which is excess glucose, goes to fat storage, and then ketogenesis in fasting or starvation, um, acetyl CoA, and to ketone bodies. And then heat production and body temperature regulation. So heat production. Um, the sources are basal metabolism, muscle activity like exercising or shivering, hormonal effects, thyroid hormones or adrenaline, and food. In in sorry. So food and induced thermogenesis. And then temperature regulation is controlled by the hypothalamus. Heat loss mechanisms are sweating and vasodilation. Heat conservation is vasoconstriction and shivering. Basal metabolic rate (BMR) minimizes energy that it needs to maintain important functions at rest. The factors that can affect BMR is age, gender, body composition, hormones, temperature, nutritional state, and genetics. Disturbances of normal metabolic processes, carbohydrates disorders like hyperglycemia or hypoglycemia, protein metabolism disorders, protein energy malnutrition, can include edema and fatty liver, and marasmus. I'm not sure how to say that, sorry. Which is a severe form of protein or energy malnutrition caused by a lack of calories and nutrients. And then lipid metabolism disorders, hyperlipidemia causes cardiovascular disease, ketosis and ketoacidosis, especially in diabetics, hormonal imbalances, thyroid disorders, hyperthyroidism, and hypothyroidism. And then the metabolic syndrome, cluster obesity, insulin resistance, hypertension, and dyslipidemia. Overall, nutrients provide energy, structure, and regulation. Metabolism involves interconnected pathways, converting food into usable energy for our bodies. Heat production and BMR reflect overall metabolic activity, and disturbances can lead to serious diseases affecting multiple systems. And that's all I have for you from metabolism. Thanks for watching.